Alright everyone, I hope you're all keeping safe out there. Today I thought I'd just, I don't know, have a bit of a chat. If you've stayed on my channel for a little bit, which you should all stay on my channel for a bit, if you hopefully should all be subscribed by now, and if not, yeah, don't blame me. But anyway, yeah, last couple of months or weeks or whatever, I've been just looking at thinking, well, what Marvel Legends might we get in the future? And actually, to be fair, I've actually predicted quite a few good ones. I mean, let's have a think. Yeah, I suggested or predicted that we might get a Firestar figure based on the classic Spider-Man and his amazing friends, and guess what? We've got one on the way, and I've ordered it. It looks beautiful. I predicted a J. Jonah Jameson reissue. That came true, though it's actually slightly different. It's actually better than the old one, but you know, I predicted J. Jonah Jameson, and we had that. And a green She-Hulk. I predicted, or perhaps suggested, a green She-Hulk made from the Super Skrull wave, the grey Hulk She-Hulk figure. And yeah, we've got those on the way, and yet again, that's definitely been pre-ordered. That's another beautiful figure. So, since I've got a couple right so far, I thought, well, I'll get the old brain cells working a bit more and see what else I can come up with. What might, I don't know, might lay in the future for Marvel Legends. So here's just a couple more ideas I had. Okay, so up first, a classic Marvel villain who's had some return to form in recent years, Ronin the Accuser from the, well, he's an Avengers villain, a Fantastic Four villain, Silver Surfer villain. He's also maybe not a villain because he's just doing his job. He's a classic character, and if you saw the Guardians of the Galaxy movie and Captain Marvel, he was in there as well as a, well, as he was a Kree Accuser, and we had a figure of that version of him, but yeah, I think we need a classic version, like the old classic costume design, which has appeared in other media like like Avengers cartoons, like the Great Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon. Yeah, I mean, it's a great design, and I know like a couple of years ago we had a Build-A-Figure Ronin, back in like the darker days of Hasbro Marvel Legends, and that one's okay, but it was more of his I think the Annihilation and Annihilation Conquest design, like the early 2000s. But yeah, just a classic version of him would look really great on shelves. And of course, speaking of classic, like, cosmic characters, how about this one? Zenmu, the original Hulk. The big, white, fluffy, cyborg monster. I mean, he's a really strange design, but also a really cool one. And yeah, he was actually the first character Marvel ever called the Hulk, which I think is a neat thing. But yeah, figure that. I mean, most of the tooling is already done with things like, I was going to say the Wendigo, but the Wendigo is slightly different, so, because he hasn't got a tail, because Zenmu doesn't have a tail, so like the Sasquatch mould. Pretty much the Sasquatch mould is 99% the way there. All it would really need is, let's think, a new head, obviously be cast in white, yeah, a new head, some slightly different feet, I think, maybe some three-fingered hands, and the sort of like technological belt, which he sometimes has around his waist, sometimes doesn't. So it's not a deal breaker if he doesn't have it. It is not a deal breaker if he doesn't have it. Yeah. So yeah, that's I guess two ideas down. So I'm struggling to speak today. It's been one of those ones, to be honest with you. Let's think. What else? Well, Zenmu was a Hulk villain, and actually, to be fair, yeah, the Hulk doesn't have many of his rogues gallery as figures. So okay, I'm gonna do mainly Hulk characters, because I think like the Hulk needs a bit more love. So let's think. Oh, and okay, biggest Hulk villain outside the leader, which has already been released. I only picked up the other day, and it's actually a good figure. How about an evil Hulk, the Maestro, from the Future Imperfect storyline, and at the point of recording this, the recent Maestro miniseries, which sort of filled in the background of the Maestro, who's basically a version of the Hulk in the future after a nuclear war, where he sort of just takes over and becomes a bit of a hedonistic arsehole and fights his past. It's a good book. You just, if you can find it, go read Hulk, Future Imperfect, and the Maestro miniseries from this year / last year. And I mean, he's had a figure before in Legend scale. I think it must have been a Toy Biz one. It was an okay figure. We've actually had it. It was actually a really good figure. It's fitting well with what Toy Biz was producing at the time. But like nowadays, I don't know. We could, considering how good like the 80th anniversary Hulk is and the versions that we've had in both grey and green, I think we could do something more with the Maestro. I actually wouldn't go with the Hulk body for this guy. I'd probably go with the Juggernaut body from the... What was the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure and was then the 2-pack with Colossus. Because that's got like boots, trousers. You can put a belt on it if you need to. It's got wrist braces, which Maestro normally wears. It's large enough. It's actually slightly larger than the Hulk, I think, which works because the Maestro is slightly stronger than the Hulk because of all the years of absorbing radiation. So that'd actually be a really great base body for him. It's not a bad idea for like a great deluxe release. Yeah, I will say that Zenmu would have been a good deluxe release or a Build-A-Figure. Yeah, either one. And speaking of like deluxes or things that really should be Build-A-Figures, another Hulk villain. How about, this is a weird one, the Harpy. Who was like Betty Ross transformed into this like green gamma radiated Harpy. Really cool, like weird 60s design, 60s and 70s design. Looked really cool, would look really good on the shelf. It could be very unique. And obviously they would make this by, I haven't a damn clue. They'd probably have to all be all new sculpt, but there's nothing wrong with that. New sculpts need to be made so future repaintings can be done. And I think this would be like an interesting challenge for the designers over at Toy Biz. Oh god, no. Hasbro, so, oh god, I said the name of the unholy ones. I'm joking. Toy Biz did great figures back in the day, but I mean, this would be a great challenge for the people over at Hasbro to design and create. Let's think now. Maybe something slightly less hulky. Oh yeah, Thanos. That's it. Sorry, the Thanos figure, the classic design one, is coming out soon. Or better to go with it than Adam Warlock. I mean, it's a great retro design. It's striking. He's had some return to form, or some media attention recently because he was teased at the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Though nothing's come of that yet, so he might be in Volume 3. And he's a great figure to have alongside Thanos. And I know that Hasbro did make an attempt at making a figure of this guy back in the early days when they had the Marvel Legends license. And it wasn't bad. I had it. It was, for what they were producing at the time, it was actually quite good. But I think now they could do a update of it. Update of the classic design. Because I know they did do like a more modern design for him, which was okay. They might actually keep the head they made for that figure, but put it on a new body with a cape. I mean, most of his details are painted on, so it won't be much. It won't cost much to sculpt extra stuff. It'll just be paint, really. And even then, that's just red and black. That's it. Maybe include the Infinity Gauntlet, because like their old figure had the Infinity Gauntlet, and they kind of like quite classically wielded it. That'd be an interesting figure to have, and to say, a good piece to go with your Thanos. Okay, let me think. Maybe one more thing. Okay, how about this? There are a fair few box sets in recent years. I mean, some of them have been really good, like the Defenders, the A-Force, Alpha Flight, X-Men, Guardians of the Galaxy, all sorts. They're good. But how about a villain multi-pack? And how about, yet again, a Hulk-related villain multi-pack? What about the UFOs? Now, the UFOs are an interesting super villain team in Marvel Comics because they best way to describe them. Well, they've had a lot of media attention recently. They've been in, obviously, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the Avengers recent cartoon, I think it's called the Ultron Revolution cartoon, and they're appearing now in the pages of Immortal Hulk. Just a bit of background, they're like this sort of a slightly amoral, probably a lot more than slightly, quite amoral businessman. After hearing of how the Fantastic Four got their powers, decided he wants the same thing. So he talked the woman he was seeing, her brother, and a pilot into recreating the accident or the space mission which gave the Fantastic Four their powers. Now, they originally intended to become stronger than the Fantastic Four by staying up there even longer and being exposed to more cosmic rays, but by pure fluke, Bruce Banner was there at the time of the ground control, and he thought, they were in trouble, so he put them back down a bit early. So they didn't get as much as they wanted, but they still got a heck of a lot of cosmic rays, and it changed them into the UFOs for really cool, villainous versions of the Fantastic Four. They're really, I don't think they've ever actually been Fantastic Four villains. It's kind of strange, though. It's kind of like the opposite of, if this was a Marvel movie, maybe the earlier Marvel movies, they'd obviously be Fantastic Four villains because they're evil versions of them. But no, they're primarily Hulk villains and occasionally Avengers villains. And they're actually quite cool, and as a villain set goes, they'd be a nice, interesting one to do. I'll just quickly go through them individually. Up first we have Vector, an interesting design. I think this guy's going to be all. They're going to make him. He's going to be all in the paintwork, and you need like just a simple body. So I go with the body they used for the Silver Surfer, the Walgreens exclusive. Everything on that, bar the board, would be perfect for this figure. Cast him in like a yellowy gold, have the red details painted on. Keep the open hands and the effects, maybe cast them in yellow. That'll look quite cool. Because he has the ability of telekinesis, so just something to. Obviously think you should have the open hands just to show him using his powers. But yeah, just cast that figure in it like a yellowy gold, paint the details on. It looked great. The second one is Vapor, the female of the group. Interesting character, able to turn herself into any gas she can imagine. She's normally shown as mist and vapor in the air, so like a nice greeny tinge. So do with her like they did with Singularity. That's it, Singularity in the A-Force box set. Cast her in that sort of like semi-transparent plastic, obviously with a green tint to it, but it looked really cool, I think. And yet again, she'd be a striking and unique figure because we don't have many female villains, he says, thinking about them. Well, obviously not as many as the males, but like this would be an interesting one to have, and obviously it'd be an interesting figure if it was done as a semi-transparent green woman. It'd be cool. And up next, like the big guy of the group, the thing of the group, Ironclad. Basically just a large man with silver skin, not like Colossus exactly, more like he's been chromed is the best way to describe it, but like a chromed version of the Hulk, maybe not quite as big. And so for that guy, go for a Hulk figure that's not quite as big as the classic one. Something like the Gamerverse Grey Hulk or the Avengers movie. That body design, you'd have to smooth it down, but I'm assuming if they have the engineering to make that, there must be like a base like design file that then add details to. He would literally just be that base design file, no extra things needed. Maybe just those weird little toesy, it's very strange feet, but maybe add those in, a little silver skirt, and it'd look really cool. It'd be the nice strong guy of the group, and it'd be that shiny figure. Shiny figures always look good, and having him as maybe cast him in silver. Probably cast him in a nice silver. Hopefully not too swirly of a silver, but even if it is, it won't look too bad. And what do we think? Oh, last member of the group, XRay. Interesting looking figure, or interesting looking character, should I say. Just he's pink and made of energy, and I think obviously the best way to do this would probably be, because he looks just like it, get the retro Iceman figure, the sort of semi-transparent white one. Get that figure, because it's got all the relevant details, because he hasn't got his body isn't like overly detailed, and that figure is quite plain, but yet again it works good with the body. They've got the same build really, and cast that in the same pink they used for the Living Laser recently in the in this series. I can't remember what the build figure was, but the same line that had like Citizen V in it, and that looks really cool in that pink. So yeah, the classic retro Iceman figure moulded in that semi-transparent pink they used for the Living Laser, and that would look really great for X-Ray. Maybe paint on some black lines if you want to, but there's no real need to. I mean, maybe make it pink, a bit glittery maybe. Like what they did with Singularity, they made her transparent blue, little sparkly with little bits of silver flake added to the plastic. Do that with this guy. Just pink, silver flake on the Iceman body, and jobs are good and it'll look great. So yeah, that was just a few ideas I had for like we might get in future for Marvel Legends, and hopefully at least one or two of these might come to pass. Personally, out of all of them, I think the UFOs are the one I'd like the most. I think they're probably the most likely because they've got a bit of a push at the moment in the comic books, in the Immortal Hulk. They've been on TV shows and cartoons. They're in the Hulk video game, the 2008 one for that movie. They appeared in that. They're like not hard to produce as figures, and with a little bit of like thought into it, you can reuse a lot of moulding really to make them, and they look really good. So yeah, that's it, folks. Okay, thanks for listening. As always, stay safe, stay sane, and I'll see you all next time. Ta-da!